welcome to our inaugural Student Success Parent Town Hall. The purpose of this Town Hall series, which will be occurring monthly, is to provide parents with insights into what HISD is doing to set up their children for success and provide a forum for parents to submit common questions for district leadership to answer. My name is Najah Callander, and I lead HISD's family engagement efforts. Launching this Town Hall series was deeply important to me because I want HISD families to know and understand how district leadership is thinking about advancing their children's learning. I want families to understand how and why district leadership and principals are doing what they do and why it benefits students. A lot has changed in HISD in the last year and a half, and the intention behind every change is to make sure that teachers are better teachers and that students are learning more. That is our main thing. The first few installments of this series will focus on high-quality instruction. High-quality instruction is a top priority for HISD, and you've likely heard that from Superintendent Miles, from your child's principal, and others, and you've heard them mention the term. I'm glad to be joined today by Sandi Massey, who leads HISD's Leadership and Strategic Initiatives team. Sandi has a really cool and impactful job. She's charged with training our principals so that they can be the best school leaders they can be. She focuses on making sure our principals are continuously learning and growing so that they can lead their teachers and their students to success. Sandi, thanks so much for being with me. Can you start by sharing a little bit about what motivates you and inspires you in your job?
Well, first of all, I'm going to start by saying I absolutely love my job, and I do think it's the coolest job in HISD.
I think I agree.
But I think what's most inspiring about the work that we do with training principals to be great leaders is walking a campus after a training and seeing principals implement what you just taught, seeing teachers implement that same strategy or those strategies, seeing students learning from that implementation. It's a really cool thing to see people you train grow and meet those expectations or even rise above them.
Yeah, wonderful. One thing that's true for everybody turning in tonight is that you've all been shaped by your own experiences with school. We have our own examples or impressions about what a good teacher or a good classroom looks like. We also have our own thoughts and experiences with bad teachers and bad classrooms. This conversation is a chance for us to level set and frame what good teaching is and what a good classroom looks like in 2024 that sets our students up for success both this year and beyond. Okay, so now let's start breaking down some of the terms for our parent audience. First, what is high quality instruction?
So when it comes to high quality instruction, it is really twofold. There is the side of delivering a really good lesson to students so that they learn it, but you also have to have a great curriculum alongside of that to make it really effective. When we talk about high quality instruction, we're going to break it down into 4 categories basically. It's number 1, being able to use engagement strategies that are effective with students to learn.
Okay.
Number 2, being able to have grade level instruction so that we're not dumbing down the curriculum, we're making sure students are learning at the level they should learn to accomplish that particular grade level. We want to make sure that we're teaching the content in a way that is challenging for students and that it's relevant not just in today's lesson but in the real world. And then scaffolding is a piece that probably got its footing several years ago, but it's really this idea of being able to layer learning up so that students can grasp the most challenging concept with that layer of help.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. So, Sandi, for our time today, what I'd like to kind of focus in on is the engagement strategy piece. So let's dive deeper into that first aspect. And this is a term that I think parents may have heard district staff use, multiple response strategies. So what's the purpose of engagement strategies and how do they help students learn?
So the multiple response strategies, by the way, are just it's several that we have identified in Houston ISD as really critical to learning information.
Okay.
But when it comes down to it, engagement strategies can be any type of strategy that allows a student to interact with the learning actively, not passively. Okay. A passive example would be a teacher talking from the front of the room at a student and a student listening or just writing down something they saw from the board. An active way would be for a teacher to present information, and then I now engage with that learning with my partner. I engage with that learning with my paraphrasing on a piece of paper, or I write out a problem on a whiteboard. So engagement strategies are multifaceted, and you can use them in a variety of ways, whether sitting down or standing up or moving around the room and seeing things on the wall that you're engaging with. There's a lot of different ways to use engagement strategies.
Okay, well, let's see what some of these engagement strategies look like.
Okay.
Think about what we did on the do now and put my answers on the whiteboard. Put my answers on the whiteboard. Describe what you see happening from one to the next. And then what will be my next turn? Whiteboard's up. Good job.
Use those letters to do our vowel, consonant, vowel letter. Let's do it. Everybody hold it up. I'm so proud of you. We were able to decode. Let's see, I'm shaking my room. I'm shaking my room. I'm shaking my room. And guess what I have? 100%. 1, 2, 3. Show me something good. Okay. Show me. Oh, very good. Y'all have 100%. You gotta give yourself a round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause.
Okay, so let me just tell you, what you just saw there was whiteboards, obviously, and we use whiteboards in some way across every school in HISD. So some have the physical whiteboard, some have just a piece of paper that has a transparency over it, but we use whiteboards a lot. Why? Because a teacher can see an answer, much like what you saw in that video, very, very fast, and they can make a decision database to say, ooh, I need to reteach that concept, right. Or bam, 80%, 90%, 100%, now let's move on. Right. So it gives them information really quickly, but it also allows a student to do the writing and the work in front of them. They can see it with their partner, they can show it to their teacher and get a confirmation that I understood what just got taught.
And the thing I loved in those videos is how excited the teachers were and praising the students, right? 100% pat yourself on the back in all the songs and all of the ways that they are engaging and encouraging the students.
Yes.
That was great. Can we talk a little bit about another strategy I hear? And you've kind of talked about talking with a partner. Can you tell us a little bit about turn and talk?
Yeah, so it's called a lot of different things. You can call it turn and talk, you can call it think, pair, share, or you can do an ink, pair, share where you're writing something down and you're also sharing that knowledge. But the whole gist of it is this, that I am capturing information for myself, and to ensure that I know it as a student, I'm going to now tell it to you in my own way. And then you're going to be able to confirm if your answer is the same. So a lot of kids will say, I agree with you because, or I disagree with you because, and they'll point to evidence or whatever. But it allows them to engage in the learning very authentically, and hopefully sticks the learning to them so that they remember it the next day.
Yeah, wonderful. Let's take a look at that.
I want you to share with your shoulder partner about what you wrote down. Take turns sharing it, please.
This is because of the wavelength, because if it's long, if the wave is like long, then it would usually move more.
It moves through the waves and the water is traveling and making the boat move.
Skills that can be help us to learn the yellow is the analyzing and explaining how energy and matter are conserved through variety of systems. But I put comparing and contrasting the chemical potential energy with kinetic energy.
The first thing we're going to do is turn and talk about what operation we're going to need to use to solve this problem.
To the distance, because it says how many in total chocolate covered strawberries does Sierra have.
I agree with that, and I would also like to add, because it doesn't really say anything about subtracting. It kind of says how much do you have in total.
Go ahead and share with your partner what you think your correct or correct answers would be. Go ahead.
19/6 could also work because that's an improper fraction. And all you would do, you wouldn't add 3 holes, you would count each and every single one of them to make 19.
Yeah, so that's like a great example of students doing both. They're using a whiteboard to solve a problem, and they're also communicating with their partner about the way that they solve that problem. And you can see even from the last example where the little girl is actually kind of teaching the other little girl or explaining explicitly why and how she got the answer she got, and helping the other student understand that as well. I think that's the most exciting part of seeing Turn and Talk is when you see them so excited about, not only did I get this, but I can explain why I got it to you.
Right, and the I agree or I disagree because is like, that's amazing language that we're also teaching kids to utilize.
You can see how comfortable they are doing that. This is a really normal thing for students to be able to interact with each other.
Now, Sandy, it looked to me like those were elementary school kids. Is Turn and Talk something, or these engagement strategies things that you can do when your child is 5 or when they're 15 or everywhere in between?
Yeah, and adults, by the way. Instead of always having your cell phone with you at dinner, you could actually turn and talk to your partner that's with you at dinner. But yes, all the way down, as early as a child can learn to talk, they can learn to engage. And honestly, if there's one thing that our today has brought to students that we've never had to deal with in the past, is all the engagement with technology, social media, texting, and engagement strategies Turn and Talk allows for students to be able to learn to have a problem that we can solve together outside of technology. 3-year-olds can do it, 4-year-olds can do it, and of course, 16, 17, 18-year-olds can do it as well.
Yeah. Okay, well, this has been great to watch, and it's been incredible to see the students doing the thing that we're talking about. But I know we had some parents submit questions, so let's now look at some of the questions submitted by our parents. So the first question is, what research is HISD drawing from to inform high-quality instruction?
The research for high-quality instruction goes back decades. Educational leaders have been working on the most effective ways to get students to learn, for the information to stick for decades. This is not new. And all the way back in the 1920s with Piaget and Vygotsky, Piaget was the first person to say collaborative learning is so important, at least published that learning, right? And that really started sticking in the 1960s and 70s. And then Vygotsky, he's the one that came up with the idea of scaffolding and how important it is to layer learning, that students can do very challenging things when we support those challenging things with scaffolds. And then even to today's researchers like Carol Ann Tomlinson, who came up with she published the term differentiation so that we differentiate our learning and hit students where their needs are. And then even like quality companies like TNTP, the New Teacher Project, who printed multiple large documents around grade level instruction being a priority. So all of those researchers support the way that HISD does high quality instruction.
Okay, wonderful. So the next question that kind of came up commonly is, how do we support our language learners and how do we modify our work with engagement strategies for them?
So I want to say that the language learners, getting the engagement strategies is probably one of the most exciting things. And when it comes down to it, every single student benefits from the idea of being able to listen, read, speak, and write. And those are the 4 core foundational elements to the Texas essential, the language standards that Texas brings up in the state of Texas. Those are the 4 criteria: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. All of our engagement strategies revolve around those 4 things. So yes, it hits emergent bilinguals at their most needed area to learn a language, to practice the language, to listen to the language and respond to it. But it helps every single student across the district be able to engage with learning differently and uniquely. And it does impact the language development of students in a high quality way.
Okay, that's great to know. You know, it's really interesting to hear how engagement strategies kind of support the students that English may not be their first language or they're still really working on language. What about our students that might have an IEP or a 504 plan, or they have some other special need? How do engagement strategies, or do they support those students as well?
Yes, engagement strategies are meant for all students of any type, of any learning style, of any level. So whether you're struggling as a learner or you are mastering learning, being able to engage with partners, with tables, with writing, that is beneficial for everyone. But you know, when it comes to special needs students, although the engagement strategies do help them, one of the best parts that I've seen when I'm doing walks on campuses across the district, and I see about 5 schools a week, so I'm in a lot of schools, but I see the special education co-teachers of content. So we have special education teachers that are really focused on math, really focused on ELA, different grade levels. They'll be in the classroom alongside that 45 minutes or 60 minutes or 70 minutes of learning, and they're engaging not just with their caseload of students with an IEP, but with all students, while ensuring that their caseload students get the very specific needs for their IEP. You know, it is a state law, and we do not shy away from making sure every single student hits their IEP needs. That's a priority. Engagement strategies do not lend itself to a liability in that area, but an asset in that area.
Yeah, wonderful. So I think we have one more video. And maybe, Sandi, you can tell us a little bit about what we're going to see in this last
Yeah, this is going to be really short and sweet, but it's a couple of our students from HISD last school year just sharing their thoughts around high-quality instruction.
Okay, let's check it out.
What I like most about this year is that we get to turn and talk, and we get to share our opinions, because you might not have thought of something that they have.
It helps people get out of their comfort zone, which forces them to, interact with the other students and actually talk to their peers, because a lot of us really don't do that.
Yeah, so you can see that's just a little snippet. We actually have a lot of student voices videos out there that just celebrate the learning that students, the challenges that they had to go through in HISD with learning all these multiple response strategies and just engagement at a high quality level. But you can see that even high school students are saying, yes, it wasn't easy, but we did it, and it was good for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Like eating our vegetables,
yes.
Right? Well, thank you, Sandi, so much for being here. In addition to my job focused on helping families connect with HISD and understand district priorities, I'm an HISD mom myself. So as a mom, my main takeaway from today's conversation and my time with Sandi is that engagement strategies are really helping my daughter talk about the things that she's learning in class, write about them, and engage more with her classmates, but also with the material, so that learning is sticky in her brain. So I want to thank you again, Sandi, for being here. Next month, we'll be focused on grade level instruction, another set of phrases that people have heard, and we'll talk about curriculum. So I'll be joined by Sandi and HISD's Executive Director of Curriculum. Parent questions can be submitted about that topic, and we will discuss them then. Thank you again for taking the time to tune in with us, and we look forward to continuing conversations about high-quality instruction with all of you in the months ahead. Thank you and your family for being the best part of HISD.